That's a global $1 trillion segment. The machine does what you tell it to do. Can we design a kitchen so this person can not hurt themselves and cook as many pizzas or as many bowls as possible? And that's fine because that's who we are.
Nipun Sharma is a visionary entrepreneur and the co-founder and CEO of Appetronix, an innovative company revolutionizing the food service industry with fully autonomous robotic quick service restaurants. And that's where our left turn happens today. We've never gotten into robotics before, and so this is going to be a big one for us. By integrating advanced machine learning and data science, Appotronics creates delicious, made-to-order meals without the need for on-site staff, offering a glimpse into the future of dining. With more than 17 years of leadership experience in the restaurant and food manufacturing sectors, Nipun has successfully managed more than 10 restaurant brands across multiple cuisines, including both quick service and full service concepts. His expertise extends to operating food production facilities, enabling a seamless connection between supply chains and consumer dining experiences. Nipun's professional journey began on Wall Street, where he honed his skills in investment banking and private equity. A graduate of McGill University, he transitioned to the food and beverage industry, taking on executive roles and serving as chief operating officer for global public restaurant chains. His strategic vision and operational acumen have driven growth and innovation, solidifying his reputation as a leader in transforming traditional business models through technology. Nipun is passionate about redefining the dining landscape and advancing the integration of robotics into the restaurant industry, making him a pioneer at the intersection of technology, hospitality, and culinary excellence. He is about to launch, in collaboration with the Donato's pizza chain, the first fully automated, robotic-driven pizza kiosk at the Columbus, Ohio airport, with the promise that the Donato's customers will love this pizza. And that's what brings you to us today. Nipun, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Pizza Quest. Let me start out by asking you, considering that you are about to take us into the future of the restaurant business, and that you're now speaking to an audience here who are passionate about artisanship and craft when it comes to their pizza, can you really deliver on your consumer promise?
That's a good question, Peter. I think the way I look at the food consumption universe, there's a place that you want to go see the artisan performance. There's a place you want to go with your friends and family, with your colleagues. You want to celebrate certain milestones. You're really going for a full experience, right? And I don't think robotics and AI are going to take away from that because you're going for that human experience. But there's another segment, and that's a global $1 trillion segment, and that's takeout and delivery. You don't get to see that artistic magic when you have something you order from your phone that's delivered by Uber. What you want from that experience is predictable quality, food safety, and good value and good speed. So we're going after that segment. So we're not taking away from the artisan, we're not taking away from the chef experience. We're going after the other one. If you look at your personal dining habits, how often do you go out? How often do you pick up food for takeout and dine in? It's a much bigger segment that we're going after. So we're really going after the segment where the consumer wants convenience, predictability, and quality.
Well, that's the question. I mean, it's not, I understand that people aren't going to go in there expecting to find, some artisan pizza maker spinning the doughs and doing it. You're not talking about using robotics to, hand shape and perform each individual pizza. So we want to find out how it works. Of course, there's like so much that I can't even envision until I hear you describe it a little more for us. But I think we'll start with the question of quality, because I remember hearing you talk to, in another interview that you did, that the people you're working with at Donato's, which is a very well-respected pizza chain, one of the best pizza chains in the country, out of Ohio. We have some down here in Charlotte where I live, so I know they've got great pizza. Are the customers at Donato's going to be able to tell the difference between the pizzas that they get at the Columbus, Ohio airport, which is probably your first version, for the first of many, we hope, but are they going to say this is a Donato's pizza?
Well, so we have a really strong partnership with the folks at Donato's, and what makes this company special is that they've been quite forward thinking in looking at the way automation and AI can improve and assist on the guest experience of the existing restaurants. So for us, I always say we're not in the business of selling machines. We're in the food business. We're selling pizzas, and the pizza has to be the star. And all the machines we've developed, be it pizza, be it the Asian bowl concept, robot, for us, the food had to be the centerpiece, and we wanted to make sure the food is the star. The food tastes great. And if this was going to be Nippon's Pizza Hut, uh, and you don't understand or expect what Nippon does for pizza brands, your expectations would be different. When you work with any brand that has a reputation, they will never let a pizza come out from a kitchen, from an artisan, or from a machine unless it's made to their spec. If
Makes to
the
their specs and their
pizza,
standards.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we provide a platform, and the brands we work with, it's their product, and if it doesn't meet their standards, we're not going to be producing it. So it holds us to a very strong standard in delivering on a promise, on a product that people have a strong expectation for. And, uh, you know, all the machine really does. Machine doesn't really come up with a recipe, right? The machine doesn't really give you a suggestion of how the dough needs to taste. The machine does what you tell it to do, and when the machine does what tell it to do, you don't make mistakes. So, an employee in any store in any pizza brand could put a little bit extra sauce, put fewer slices of pepperoni, put a bit too much uh, cheese, and maybe put it in the oven for too long or not enough time. So the variability in quality comes from human error.
Yeah.
So when you can precisely measure what needs to happen, when you can use vision AI to make sure the spread is what needs to be, when you can measure the temperature that things need to come out on, when you can put science behind some of these things, uh, you have more predictability and quality. A very experienced operator, a franchisee or owner, uh, can monitor these things with their eyes. They're like a computer, right?
Yeah.
When you have new employees or when you have the general employees, they may not have that caliber of experience, and that's when things can go up and down. So we're really dependent on the experience and the kind of day this person has had. If they're too tired, if they're not feeling well, so you can make a few we could they can make a few errors, and then the quality can go up and down. So when you had a robot that's primarily operating on a scientific premise to make sure everything is measured to weight, to
You mean
quality, to volume.
this is not a moody robot. This is not a robot who's having a good day or a bad day.
So far,
He's not gonna come
so
back
far.
at us and say, "I'm just not feeling it today."
Well, if artificial intelligence becomes closer to human intelligence, maybe there would be some off days.
We'll say that one later.
Yeah. So the idea is that we're not reinventing the process. We're ensuring the process is followed to the T without any variability or minimal variability.
Well, I saw on your website, yeah, for those of you who are listening or watching, go to the Appotronics.com website. You can see, I saw a prototype of, I guess it was like a food stand. So, and some, it was, I don't know if it was an airport or in a building. It was for more like Asian food bowls and things like that. Is that where you started with
Right.
Asian products, like, with like ramen type dishes and stuff like that?
Yeah, exactly. Things like pad thai. For us,
Like that, yeah.
my experience has been kind of weird in the restaurant business because I've done almost every kind of cuisine type you can think of: Mexican, Chinese, Indian, steakhouses, coffee shops, vegan concepts. And I am not a chef, so every time I look at these concepts, I sort of draw upon my multi cuisine experience and make smarter kitchens so that guys like me can make great food. So we've been, call it dumbing down or smartening up our kitchens and the quick service industry, especially to make sure the food is predictable, both in terms of quality and food safety, right? In my experience, the toughest cuisine to automate was Asian because of the variability of ingredients. Think about sloppy noodles, flat
Yeah.
snow peas, chunks of broccoli,
Yeah.
shredded carrots. How do you measure all this stuff? We had to invent our own sensors to do that. So it started out as an internal exercise. It wasn't meant to be a company. But like, if we can do this, we can do anything. So that was how we started the journey. And then, we know we pizza sort of came in. We like the versatility of pizza. We like the universality, the popularity, and the convenience. And we thought, hey, let's launch with this product first. Let's make sure the product is amazing. And so we tilted away from the Asian mold concept. That's going to be the second concept that's going to come out by the end of the year. We decided to focus on putting the pizza one out, commercialize that first.
So the picture that I saw on the website was a prototype. It wasn't necessarily an happening thing out there yet. But it seems to me pizza would be maybe as hard or harder even than doing the bowls. I don't know. Well, you would know better. I understand you're not an engineer. You're not the technology guy. You are a businessman. You are in food, have been in food service your whole life. You understand how to
Right.
launch product companies, and so you've had to bring experts in to create this. But kind of guide us through what is when I looked at that prototype on the website, you can't see the sausage being made behind the screen on the machine. What's going on
But
behind the scenes? How is it? How are these robots producing the product? Are they actually cooking in a wok? Are they if they're doing stir fries? Are they making pizzas from raw dough, or are they working with pre-made dough? So how does it all unfold?
right. So, I think the true benefit of using robotics and automation is that we stop looking at a human kitchen for inspiration. We design human kitchens because the average human being, let's say 5'4" 4 inches, 2 hands, 2 legs, average strength. Can we design a kitchen so this person can not hurt themselves and cook as many pizzas or as many bowls as possible? And that's fine because that's who we are. So when I think some robotic companies came in first, decided to say, hey, let me assist this human being in the confines of this kitchen. When you do that, you're not really pushing the boundaries of automation, right? You're taking an inefficient human kitchen and saying, I'm going to make it slightly better. So you're basically optimizing inefficiency. But if you go on first principles, saying, here's all my raw materials, here's all my finished products, how to go from A to B using automation, using robotics. So my entire team, and you're right, I'm the only non-engineer, and I purposefully made sure they never visit a restaurant kitchen. I'm like, stop going there for an inspiration. But this needs to end up looking like this. How do we do this? And that's what we use in a traditional restaurant. Can we use another means to produce and cook and manipulate the ingredients? So that's how we started looking at things. So if I had to classify who we are, we're less of a restaurant, more of a food factory. So a miniaturized food factory. So one side of the machine is refrigerated. That's where you store your raw materials, your cheeses, your
Uh-huh.
sauces, what have you. And then the moment someone places an order, you take the correct volume of different ingredients that they've selected. You put it on the product. So in the Asian bowl case, it goes into a wok system. So it's like I think of this as rotating drums that get fed all the ingredients and the sauces, the raw eggs, the oils, spins it around, puts it into a bowl. And the pizza concept, instead of going into a wok, it goes into some of a modified conveyor oven system. It needs to be baked to a certain spec. And then the finishing product is a bit similar. In the Asian bowl concept, it goes into a bowl, goes into a side lockers. In the pizza, it's one more step. We cut the pizza up, put it into a box, and goes into a side locker. So the journey is, think of this as a factory sequential of layering the different things. The first stage in a pizza concept is getting the sauce, then getting the cheese, then getting the ingredients and whatever toppings that go on first, and then it goes through the oven process. Then it gets cut up, and then it gets into a box and
So
into the
behind
side
the
lockers.
the window, so to speak, that's delivering the end product, there is an actual kitchen. It's just not designed as the way it would be designed for a team of human cooks, but it's designed to maximize its space and produce very efficiently this product. But in an automated fashion. You know what it reminds me of is when I was a kid, we used to have these things called the automats. Horn and Hardit's
That's right.
restaurants, the automats, and behind these little doors that would open up and people could see them in movies and stuff, but they don't exist anymore. But we loved them as kids because you would go and
Yeah.
there's like windows and you pick the thing you want, and as soon as something popped out and you took it, it was replaced by something else. But behind
Yeah.
that, behind the walls, there are human
The full
beings
kitchen.
actually cooking it. Yeah, full
Yeah.
kitchen. So
Yeah.
so there's an actual. So when I see, like, for instance, in the background in this shot that we have of you right now that we're looking at,
Yeah.
there's like what looks like the machine where you're going to get the delivery of the product, but behind that
Yeah.
there's a kitchen. And so how much
Right.
space, like, and you're gonna launch in an airport, which makes perfect sense that
Yeah.
the space in an airport is probably perfectly, designed for you to be able to create something. People don't need to see the food being made. They wanna have the food presented to them. But how much space do they need? And let's go through the pizza side of it. Is there an actual dough that's being made, or is it how does that let's start with the dough and work up to the building of the pizza.
So this is, it's like a giant vending machine, right? End of the day, that's
That's
what it is.
that's what I
But
was
it's
thinking, yeah.
and if I can simplify it further, it's like a miniature food truck, but there's no humans inside. So the mechanization process is similar. There's a certain spec that different brands have their doors flattened to, so we follow that spec. Then there's a certain volume, and we use different sensors to measure the weight of the sauce that goes on top. Same thing with the cheese. We know the weight plus also the spread. So we have the vision AI cameras to make sure that we're putting ingredients to a certain spec. To now there's certain very specific requirements on number of pepperoni slices on a
Yeah.
different size of pizza. So we measure everything by weight. We measure everything by a vision system, and also by temperatures to make sure that every step of the process we're following. So that means if something is refrigerated, it needs to make sure it's at the refrigerated temperature as required by food safety regulations in that place. So every step of the process, we measure both the volume and the spread of the product. And the same thing when the finished product comes up. For whatever reason, if a pepperoni slice fell off or cheese got extra burnt, that pizza is rejected. So until all specs are met, we don't put the pizza in the right locker for you to pick up. So there's
Will there be
lots
a
of checks and
person?
balances.
Will there be a person back there overseeing the robots, or I mean, or is it unnecessary even to have a human there?
Well, is artificial intelligence overseeing it, right? So it's been learning what is a perfect pizza in terms of temperature, quality, and also vision. So it's been studying uh, all kinds of acceptable. If you're missing one pepperoni slice, maybe it's acceptable. If you're missing four, it's not. So it's been trying to learn what is acceptable, what is not. That includes distribution too. You might have the right volume of pepperoni. If it's on one side of the pizza, it's not acceptable. So it's doing all this mechanization. It does alert an operator when, hey, listen, we rejected the pizza. It's a locker number 9. When you have a chance, take it out. If for whatever reason, the robot does drop a pizza while moving it around, it'll alert the operator to come. Can you please pick it up? We have this issue. Or if a customer made a mistake and he takes the pizza out and jammed it back into the locker because they're having fun, we'll make sure that the pizza locker is does not receive another pizza because somebody's fooling around, because human beings will do stuff like that.
Yeah, you got to factor in all these crazy. You got to factor in the idiocy.
Yeah, and people want to test the limits, right? So
Yeah,
so by the way, you can there's 2 windows in the machine. You can see the entire cooking process.
really.
Initially my sentiment was we're selling food and let's focus on the food. I don't think robots are as interesting as the quality of the food we're serving. But I think everybody's like, no, we want to see the robots. We want to see how it's going on inside. So
They want to see the show. There's a show involved here, some theater.
yeah, it's a TikTok dream come true. You want to see all this stuff happening. So we've recognized that everybody wants to see the show inside, and so you're going to see the entire journey of your food. You're going to get it seeing made, and I promise you, every single time anybody that's come here to test the machine and work with us, the moment the pizza come out, they forget about everything, and we all bought stretchy pants because every time a pizza come out, well, that's throwing it, we're eating it.
Yeah, right.
They're making a few hundred pizzas during testing times. They're like, I think I can manage one more slice. So it's great. The product is great, and I promise you that nobody will remember the robot. People will get mesmerized by the quality.
This is a whole pie. It's not by the slice. You're selling whole pies, correct?
Whole pie, and it's cut
And it
as
gets
well.
cut, and then it gets put in a box, and
Or in a box.
the customer gets a box with the hot pizza in it. So going
That's
back again to for those of us who geek out about things like dough. So how is the crust pre-delivered to you as raw dough, or is it a pre-baked crust for the robot to be able to pick up and start to top?
It's a combination of both. I can give you too many secrets on how we manipulate the dough, but it's a very very complicated process on how the dough gets made to spec.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's part of our many years of research with our operating partners. Yeah, that's all I can tell you for now.
Well,
It is
when you
it is
say many years, how long has it taken to kind of work all this out? You've first you had to work it out with the Asian bowls and things like that, and then translate it over to pizzas. But you've been working on this, and that's been like an overnight process.
No, our company's been doing this for about 5 years now. And we also have many partners that have helped our journey. Like we have companies that robotic partners, companies that artificial intelligence partners, companies that supplied us with the ovens that can manipulate the pizza, that we can control the movement of the pizza, the speed and the temperature via our PLCs. So we have a lot of partners, and because of that, we didn't have to start from scratch. So when I tell you it took us 4 or 5 years, but if I look at the extended partners that have been doing different works and different aspects of the pizza making process, add another 30 years to that. So as a company alone, 4 to 5 years, our partners experience, some of them have been doing this for a long time, for 10,
Yeah,
15 years. We
yeah.
managed to find a perfect way to bake a pizza in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So we've taken a lot of their knowledge. So on our own, we would have taken us 30 years, but we could do it in 4 or 5 years because of the partnerships that we have with numerous companies.
Unbelievable. I know the thought behind it, the risk involved, the just being able to stretch your brain to accept the possibility that this can even happen.
Yeah.
And you have to get everybody to buy in and get on board. How were the Donato's folks? How did you end up choosing them? And have they've obviously, if they're putting their name on it, they must be pleased with the end result.
So they've been working very intimately with us from the very beginning. And as a company, they have a lot of experience in automation and looking at the next generation of pizza restaurants. So they brought decades of experience on how certain things need to be done. So not every pizza company thinks this way. So we had a great opportunity to have a brand that's considered one of the best in the world, that is very forward thinking, has a lot of experience in the journey we're on, so that made a lot of sense. As you guys know, that Donato's used to be owned by McDonald's back in the 90s, like Chipotle.
Right, like
And so
McDonald's
the
bought Donato's, and then Donato's bought themselves back, right?
Correct, correct. So this was a great business, great family business, very, very close partnership with them. And I could tell you that there's going to be no pizza sold until the entire Donatos people say, yeah, this is awesome. This is as good or better than what we could do in our stores. So they are the final people to make the call. We just make sure that we live up to the expectation, and that's all we do. We just try to make sure that we give them what they want. So you'll never see a pizza coming out if it's not been approved by the folks in Donatos.
That the day that they say, "This is better than any pizza that we're already making in our store," is the day that the whole world changes, right? That is like that's when the movie gets made,
Well,
that's when
we're
music
not
builds
going
up.
for the better. We're not going for the better. I already think they're the best. As long as we can meet their standards,
Well
that's all we're
well,
hoping
when is
for.
it how close are you? Because it sounded like, from what I've been reading, that you're pretty close to launching that prototype store.
Yeah, I think if everything goes going to plan, we should be going live at some point next month.
That's pretty near, that's close, that's real near. So
That's close. Yeah.
so obviously just fine tuning it now that you must be, there. The pizzas are there, you got the technology there. We're gonna see the first one at Columbus Airport. What's the big plan after that? Where is it gonna be mainly airports and kiosks, or food courts, or where does it go from here?
So, our expertise is the hardware and the software. That's what we do. So we're not the ones coming up with the recipes. We're not the ones that are the brand. We're by Appetronix. And what we like about airports and companies like HMS Host and Compass and Sodexo and Aramark, they have a gigantic footprint in airports, hospitals, office towers, universities. They already have feet on the ground. They already have the supply chain worked out. So working with companies like this, hey, you fill the ingredients when the machine tells you to change the air filters. We manage the rest. So we do what we do, you do what you do. It takes, I think we've estimated that it takes just a few hours of one employee's time to refill the machine and do some general maintenance. So this becomes a symbiotic partnership where we can scale up very rapidly.
But once that first one launches, and we're going to assume this is going to be a home run, you're going to be a success. That first one, everyone's going to go, "Wow!" Um, well, your job is to create the tools to execute it. What other products will we get back into the Asian bowls? Are there other brands that are waiting in the wings for this first one? And where, I mean, in your mind, best case scenario, where is it all going?
It's a good question. So, so we have the Asian ball that's kind of almost developed. That's going to launch at some point by the end of this year. With all the machines, all the cuisine types, we think version one is what you're going to see next month coming out. Version two and version three will be improvements on the first one. Think of this as your first iPhone you ever received. How do we make them faster? How do we make them smaller? How do we have the capacity go up higher? What more technology can we use to make the process easier to manage? For example, you can cut a pizza using traditional knives. You can cut a pizza using ultrasonic blades. You can cut a pizza using lasers.
Yeah.
So what is the best form of development? There's a lot of capital R&D required for every stage. We envision by version three, and each version will probably take 3 to 6 months, we'll have the final product that's mass produced. So we have many manufacturing partners that we can outsource different components of the machine. So the pizza goes on its own journey. The Asian bowl is going to go on its own journey. The third
Yeah.
cuisine will add early next year is most likely going to be Mexican.
Ah, that makes it like Mex in what for, burritos or tacos, or what
Like
do you think?
the bowls.
Oh, Mexican bowls. Yeah, okay. So the bowls, you'll have the technology for doing bowls. Now it's just a matter of adapting the recipes to that cuisine.
That's it. That's it.
So after that, it's like there's no stopping it. This, you can do almost any kind of cuisine after that.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. So between what we did at Asian and what we did in the pizza, I think we've done a full circle of all the different ingredients, be it bacon, be it cooking, be it, you know, the variability of vegetables and protein. So this gives them very big subsection to say, okay, we take these three parts, it becomes Mexican, this becomes Indian, that becomes
Yeah.
Italian.
I
Yeah,
can tell you if I was walking through an airport, let's say, and I saw a kiosk that was putting out, a guaranteed great bowl of curry, of curry,
yeah,
whether it's chicken curry or laksa or butter chicken or whatever,
yeah,
I would grab that because I would believe that that could be done.
yeah,
The pizza one is the biggest stretch for me because, we think about all the steps that take place, but if the word gets
yeah,
out
yeah.
that you're doing a great pizza, then no one will start to worry after that. Once they know it can be done, they just want to know in how long will it take from when I put my order until when I get my pizza?
That's exactly it. And to your original question, we're not replacing that artisanal experience, not that the chef that makes all kinds of crazy pizzas and all kinds of crazy ingredients. There's a world for that. There's a world for 2 a.m. at the airport. But what is consistent between both the worlds is the quality has to be great. And I think one of the key, in my experience, the difference between good and great is if I take any pizza that you like and I freeze it and I cook it afterwards, it's
Yeah,
going to be okay. A freshly made pizza is a
yeah.
different ball game. So that's
That's
why that's the big difference
that's a
to
good
me.
distinction because, yeah, because I think most people would think in their mind, okay, you got like a stack of pre-made frozen pizzas, and all your robot is doing is putting it through the baking system, and it's coming out. But this is really going to be from start to finish a freshly made pizza on a new dough, toppings to
Absolutely.
order and everything else.
Everything is made to order. And that's a big difference because this is a restaurant experience. This is restaurant grade. It's not a grocery store pizza frozen. There's a market for that. And don't get me wrong, I love that once in a while at 2 a.m. But what we're doing is a restaurant grade, high quality pizza that's consistent and that's freshly made.
So, and I realize this is not your part of the business, but that's using the Columbus Airport as an example. So, is there going to be an eating area there, and who's responsible for the restaurant experience? You're providing the food experience, the great pizza, but who's doing the ambiance and designing the? Is it Donato's or is it the airport catering company, or who handles all that?
So yeah, so the machine is the branding of the machine is of course the domain of Donata's, how they want to position the name. Again, we're by Appotronics, we're a small mention there. End of the day, this is a branded machine to the specs of the brand, in this case Donata's. The operators at the airport, the existing people, they manage the Starbucks there, they manage everything else. This is one more unit that they're responsible for. Like a vending machine, they're refilling it when the machine prompts
Mhm.
them to put an extra cheese. We're running out of pepperoni or what have you. So they do the management that they typically do for all the other restaurants. And in this case, it happens to be HMS House. But uh, uh, so it's their universe. So I think there's tables and chairs next to this. There's another restaurant that's close by. So there's common seating. So that's why we like being in these airport environments because
Yeah.
we're not really managing the seating and the washroom and all that kind of stuff. This is a standalone vending machine. But you're right, it is giving you a restaurant grade food to enjoy or take with you on the plane or what have you.
But it's got to be a huge collaborative process because everybody's dependent on everybody else. If something goes wrong with the robots, you've got to be available to jump on it and repair it or take care of it. The operators, whether it's the airport, HMS systems or wherever they are, the companies that are handling catering, they've got to have people there to replenish when food runs out or wipe down the tables when the customers leave and stuff like that. Everybody's got to work together and you've got to trust each other.
Absolutely. So, and the whole goal is that nobody has to do what they're not used to doing, right? One person's refilling the ingredients. That's what you do. The machine, and we're in 2025. A lot of the machine can be repaired remotely. But
Uh-huh.
that's what we use. We use AI for two things. One is predictive maintenance of the machine. Certain parts of after X number of users need to be replaced. Let's make sure we have inventory on hand. What's the best downtime? Let's make sure that somebody's available to go and fix it in the downtime. So the machine manages itself. And same thing with the food. We know that something is running out or something is expiring. Hey, 50% off your chicken pad thai because chicken expiring in 24 hours.
Yeah.
The operator, we're running low on pepperoni. Make sure you have it done the next little while. So the machine is trying to manage, but the humans are responding to it.
Yeah.
And if they are not responding in time, it does escalate it to other people. So, hey, man, we're running out of food. Nobody's doing anything. So somebody take notice.
Well, I would imagine the day of the launch, whenever that is coming soon, to airport near you, but first in Columbus, um, it's going to be everybody, all hands on deck, and kind of just watching with bated breath to see, are we pulling it off? Is it going to happen the way
We're
we
pulling it
we
off.
predicted? Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
going to
we'll,
be
we'll keep it up, fingers crossed. Things are looking very encouraging. I'm actually on site right now. I've already had 2 pizzas, so it's looking good.
wow. Um, well, so like you say, it's real close to launch. Do you have any other second wave locations lined up and kind of a rollout plan?
We do. The interesting thing about what we're doing is that we're not looking for customers. We don't have a sales and marketing team. We have enough demand for this for the foreseeable future. Our job is to make sure that we can make a high volume of high quality machines. So we're looking at what are the best manufacturing partners for us. How do you scale it up? I can make 3 a month today. I need to get to 100 a month. What does it take to get there? Yeah, we might be first to market. Doesn't mean we can maintain our lead. Somebody with more money and better skills might say, hey, this is a good idea. Let me see if I can go and do this in another province, another country, another city, another continent. So we want to make sure that we can go and scale this up in numerous places with the right partners in place. So it's basically a countdown to who's going to be the lead in this, who's going to be first. And so
Yeah.
far, we're both, and we're hoping that we stay that way.
Well, that's a good point because clearly, if one person can do it, one company can do it, there's going to be imitators. There's going to be somebody else who says,
For sure.
I don't have to be first. I just want to be better. So they're going to try to
Yeah.
piggyback. And I understand why it's important to keep a lot of your proprietary, information close to the vest. But what are you seeing? Are there companies sort of waiting in the wings that you know of already that are planning to compete with you in this?
So, a lot of the first generation robotic companies decided to automate existing kitchens. There was a big one you must have heard of, Flippy the robot that was flipping a
Yeah,
piece of
the
burger
burger.
meat, and
Yeah,
and and then it was really cute to look at. But if I don't understand how it saves money or what problem it really solves. So a lot of the first generation robotic companies are trying to automate existing kitchens. Yeah, there's some benefit to that. Does it really move the needle? I have 0 employees in mind. I haven't reduced my labor by 3%. I eliminated it. So I think the purpose of robotics is not to have incremental or marginal improvement. You need to rethink and reimagine as going to a segment at 2 a.m. at an airport that nobody's going after. So instead of going after the existing kitchen and saving them a couple of bucks a year, let's go and transform something that everybody's overlooking. So we were unique in that. I think people are starting to pay attention as to, hey, maybe this is a better model. But Peter, between you and me, I think you need 100 companies like mine to meet the global demand. So I actually mentored 3 of my competitors because I think this piece needs more and more people doing it. There's no
it just
chance we can alone handle it. Yeah.
wow. Yeah, in other words, the sky's the limit here. It looks like once you get it all worked out, it's going to just get bigger and bigger.
Oh, exactly. And that's why, meeting with partnering with people that can help us scale up rapidly, partnering with brands that have credibility in the product. That's important because we don't have that. We're not the brand. We're not the people that have the real estate. We provide the hardware, we provide the software. Let's partner with number one people in the other categories. So if we can continue with those partnerships and continue delivering our promise to these partners, you're right, the sky's the limit.
Is all the production, the assembly taking place? Are you in Toronto, right? Are you in Canada?
Yeah, we're in Canada, so we do have production both in Canada and the US. And so we do have manufacturing partners also based in Columbus. So yeah, we have both. Right, but the Canadian dollar is very, very low, so it's good to manufacture things there. But I don't know what's going to happen with the tariffs.
Yeah, yeah, I know that's another big unknown. But as far as assembly and manufacturing of the hardware, so to speak, for all this,
Yeah,
that's taking place on both sides of the border. Are you saying? And
correct.
and then it's put together somewhere. Obviously, and
Exactly. And some of the parts, like the robots, are coming from Japan. Things are coming from different places.
oh,
They get sent to our warehouse, and then we have a process to quick connect these things. Takes us 2 3 days to put it back together in place. But this parts coming from different places, different countries.
so you're not. So that's helpful for me to understand. You're not actually manufacturing the robots. You're bringing the robots in and putting them to use in some kind of a system that you are controlling.
Yeah, so we have 2 robots in this machine, but it has other automated components that are proprietary to us. So the robots help communicate between the different segments, and they go up at the locker. So there's a company that's an investor in my company that's making our lockers. There's a company that's focusing on the oven component. And all of these things are being made to our specs, and then the other parts of the machine, the way the sauce or the dough or the pepperoni is sliced, cut, placed.
Yeah.
These are all proprietary things. So there's automation, there's the robot component, and there's the AI component that goes in. But some of the hardware is through existing companies because they're specialized in that.
I don't know if you are allowed to talk about this or can talk about it, but I know a lot of people who love pizza would be interested in knowing what kind of an oven are you baking these in? Are these is it like a deck oven, or are there anything you can say about, say, those particular tools that have to do with the
So
execution of
it,
the pizza?
it is a conveyor oven. What makes this oven slightly different is that instead of being a continuous conveyor oven, the moment the pizza gets into the center, the cavity closes. This allows us to bake the pizza slightly faster with slightly more predictability because
Oh,
there's airflow from the sides won't interfere. Because sometimes that can add 3 to 5 seconds more. Like a very experienced operator, if he sees the pizza's not 100%, he can just slide it back inside. So when we don't have a human being, we want to make sure that we control the environment more. So it's a traditional conveyor oven, but it does close cavity when it's actually being baked. So we can
interesting.
execute the entire baking process in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Typically, it would take at least a minute more.
Well, that means that if there's a line of like 10 people waiting to put their pizza in, they each have to wait for that other one that are in front of them to get done. Could it be a 10-15 minute wait if there's a backup?
Well, there's multiple ovens, so that
Oh,
makes
more
it
than one
that.
oven too. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In other words, you solve us the way any restaurant would solve it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If we need more production, we put in more ovens.
One more oven, that's it.
And I assume, okay, so it's Donato, so it's going to be the Donato's dough, whatever their secret formula is, what they use, whatever brand of flour that they use. How about supply, so the chain side of this thing? The availability of those ingredients, and both the cheeses, the toppings, the tomato brands, all that stuff. That's
It's
all
all theirs.
that's theirs.
It's all theirs. Exactly. We do not interfere with the supply chain. We do not interfere with the recipes. We just say, hey, man, this is what the pizza needs to look at. Here's your cheese. Here's your dough. Here's your sauce. Here's your
Yeah.
pepperoni. Here's what it needs to look like, guys. So they get very intimately involved to make sure that everything is to their specs, but it's their supply chain. We do not interfere in that.
Well, now again, once you work out the blueprint here, there must be other pizza companies that are already thinking about this. There are certainly other pizza brands that would like to be in airports and high foot traffic areas, malls, and things like that. Are you hearing from any of those? Are you looking at that, or do you have an exclusive with Donatos?
So I know that the only thing that's close to our machine, and it's actually a 30-year-old technology from France. There are companies that provide vending machines. They take frozen pizzas and reheat them. Uh, and so again, we haven't seen a big traction in the US for these equipment, but you never know, you might. But they've been popular in France for a long time. But this is a product that's really a frozen pizza reheated market. It's not competing with
It's a
restaurants. It's
different
not
product
competing with
from.
brands. It's a
Yeah,
different
yeah,
product. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But I'm sure there's things in the works. I know that many companies, big companies, are looking at it. A lot of them have spoken to us. We're focusing on our relationship with Donatos for now. And but you're gonna see more and more of this. That's for sure. The moment this comes out, trust me, everybody will gonna start saying, "Hey, man, R&D, we can be less bad than this." So
Wow. Well, we're excited to hear about it in terms of, we're, like I say, we're holding our breath. We're looking forward to, a wow experience when it all comes together. And it won't be long by the time this show airs, because we're recording here. We're towards the second half of March. It won't get on the air till April sometime. So by the time we go live with this conversation we're having, it may even be, launched and happening. I'm imagining that there'll be some media coverage. I expect the
yeah,
morning
for
news
sure.
shows are going to be there, with their camera crews and saying, "You're not going to believe this," But
Yeah, exactly. There's official PR people handling when we get ready, and I think the goal is for the first few days to give out free pizzas and
cool.
invite everybody to come and see the machine, experience the product, and that's we want to be in their hometown because they are fans with very high expectations. We want to make sure we deliver on that promise.
That's right. Columbus is the home base for Donato's, right? That was obviously the reason for choosing that airport. Uh, but it seems like once you get this worked out, then there's no reason why it can't pop up in any airport. Or I'm just trying to imagine the places where we're likely to see it, and it would have to be a place that has space for at least the back kitchen. There has to be a kitchen that can be modified to work with
And,
the
and and that's why, like I said, the hospitals, airports,
hospitals.
universities,
Yeah,
office towers. So again, working with these food facilities management companies like
yeah.
Compass Sedex, they
I mean,
already have a
Compass
footprint there.
I saw Compass was on your website as one of your partners
Right.
on these, and that's huge. They're headquartered right here in Charlotte, where I am. So
Right.
so now I got to go over to their offices and tell them I know what you're working on. But yeah, but they as companies like that,
Yeah.
have big investments in hospitals and nursing homes and places where there's lots of people.
And they already manage the cafeteria. They already manage the Starbucks over there. They already manage the other restaurant brands, all the vending machine. They probably have 100 employees there. And now we can offer them more cuisine types without stretching their employee workload.
Well, I'll get you out on this one because I know you as a businessman know that you have to be thinking not only about how cool this is, but you have to solve problems. You have to be able to
Yes.
anticipate what the challenges are going to be, what the problems are. What do you foresee as the biggest challenges for you in growing your side of this concept going forward?
Our challenge is manufacturing scalability. This is a complicated, big machine. You asked me before, I forgot to tell you. It's about 13 feet wide, about 8 feet tall,
Oh, this is
about
not a
four and a
small
half feet
little.
deep.
Okay,
No,
yeah,
it's a big one. But we do design it to be modular, so it can come through regular doors and go inside and quick connected. We have electrical requirements the machine needs to be connected to. The Asian one has a water requirement it needs to be connected to because of a self-healing mechanism. So for us, it's our number one challenge is the how do we scale up manufacturing? Like I said, we can make 3 or 4 a month. Today, I need to get to 100 a month, and requires different kind of partnership, different expertise, and different kind of capital requirements. So
yeah.
as long as there's a path to something that's great, good thing being a tech company is that venture caps don't mind the risk as long as the reward is, interesting.
Well, that's it, and that's one of the reasons why everybody's waiting, I think, for this launch because once it's launched, where then everybody's going to be on your front door, saying, "Okay, can I
Yeah,
buy
and the other part, we've been lucky that we've had great partners supporting us. We have, of course, folks from Donatas that have been extremely supportive and helpful. We have robotic companies, vision companies, oven companies, locker companies, and a lot of these companies are investors in our company. We have sophisticated venture caps that understand the robotic space. We have celebrity chefs like Tom Colicchio as investors. So we have a good universe of people behind us. I know I'm taking credit for a lot of people's work, but really there's a big team, there's a big village making sure this happens. So there's a lot more people than me that will take credit for this, and they deserve to.
Yeah.
But this is a massive, massive, massive team effort.
Well, you've got a lot of big names behind you, and the credibility that they bring to the project, I think, will help to allay any fears. Because I now, from the standpoint of my side of the screen here, then the fear is, how does this impact, our commitment to artisanship, to craft, to quality, food quality. I think the promises of, employability and, all that stuff are great, but until we see them in action, our fears, kind of play at the same time. So, um,
Yeah.
that's well, what can I say? That's why we're all holding our breath, waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, to a point, like I said, we're not taking away from that experience. We're filling a void. We're going places where people don't have 24/7 access to restaurants. In my experience being in the industry for almost 2 decades, I've closed restaurants all over the world, not because of lack of demand, but because of lack of employees. People
Yes,
just weren't showing up. So
yes,
we're going and filling that need for it. I think there's 300,000 people there's a void of 300,000 people in the United States alone in the hospitality industry. So there's a big void, and that void is $1 trillion void. So we're going after the void. We're not going after the things that are already working. In fact, it'll become more supportive. It'll leave up more people to focus on those experiences because I think that's very, very important. So I think that universe of the artisan experience will become more profound, will become bigger, will become more interesting because we can distract those resources away for something that's more meaningful. This is filling a void, that's filling a need.
well, I know. Let me ask you this: one of the big trends in the pizza world right now is the proliferation of slice houses. More and more, pizzerias that can where you can buy it by the slice. Do you foresee being able to come out with a machine, a system like what you've got that will deliver pizza by the slice?
Anything is possible.
But is it on the dream board?
We have self-driving cars. We're going to be colonizing Mars. So making a pizza by the slice, I think, is much lower on the innovation spectrum.
Yeah,
But it's we're going where the demand is. We're going
yeah,
where people are, and the product that we're launching. Again, our restriction of being in places like airports, hospitals. You can call them low-hanging fruit, but this is where you make a good amount of money because you're filling a really important
yeah.
void and need. and we don't necessarily have to go after every single need. We focus on, one that makes sense for us. But I can tell you on the flip side, we will do some one-off events. A lot of my investors are people that put Michelin star restaurants in Vegas and Dubai and New York.
Yeah.
We'll do something massive in Vegas. It'll be a vanity project. It'll be lots of lights and mirrors and short tunes and insane stuff. We'll do that because it's fun, because my team needs a challenge, because I have an ego. It won't be our bread and butter. It won't be our focus as a company, but it'll be one of those side things that we'll do.
Yeah.
So we'll do lots of those things, and then that's part of being in R&D and experimentation. But end of the day, we want to be that supplying of your favorite brands in places where next time you go to a hospital, you'll probably think of me. A lot of people that have spoken to me and seen our presentation, they're like, I was in the hospital the other day. It was like 11 a.m. There was a sad little sushi thing in a vending machine. And I was thinking, man, I'm already depressed, and I'm even more depressed when I eat. Wouldn't it be great if I had a nice fresh bowl or a fresh pizza? It would just brighten up my day. And that's basically what we're going. That's basically our focus.
Well, I forgot to ask you this earlier, but what size will these pizzas be during this first rollout? The Donato's pizzas, are they personal pizzas, or are they?
We can technically do all the sizes that they're doing, but they've asked us to focus on the 10-inch pizza for now.
10-inch pizzas. So that's what we'll be looking for. All right. Well, Nipun Sharma, thank you so much for sharing all this with you, and congratulations on. You're right on the verge. You're right at the. You've been working on it for years, so it's got to be an exciting moment for you. Waiting for the sort of first rollout, because it's like showtime.
I'll send you an invite when we're ready to do the grand opening.
We'd love it,
and you can swing by.
and let us know when you do one of these, great shows in Vegas, one of these ultra vanity shows, as you were talking about it, or
100%.
yeah, we'd love to be there for one of those.
We'll keep you in the loop.
For those of you who have been following along this conversation, Appotronics is the website, right? Am I getting that right?
Appetronics. So appetite and Tronics the robot.
Appotronics.com. If you want to see more about it, keep your eye on it. You heard about it here. And pretty soon you're going to be hearing about it, on the news, and probably in an airport or other venue near you. Nipun, thanks again. Congrats. And
Peter,
I look forward to getting you back on, maybe when you're ready to roll out the next round of products.
thanks. A real pleasure to be here. Nice chatting.
Thank you. And thank all of you for joining us on Pizza Quest. We'll see you on the next episode.